Chapter 80, Control. She really wanted to know how Su Cheng knew there was a killer on the roof. How did you know his location? Su Cheng pointed at his eyes and said, because I am Jesus and can see everything. The two girls rolled their eyes at him. For real? Su Cheng bitterly smiled. Half of it was the truth. I already told you, yet you don't believe me. How else do you want me to explain? Just wait for the day you start calling me Captain Su, he smiled and said. Ran Jing snorted. We will bring him back and interrogate him first to see if he's actually here for you or not. Just when Su Cheng wanted to talk again, his ultrasound waves covering the entire hospital caught something. Be quiet for a second. Su Cheng immediately stopped the two girls and then closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his pair of eyes already entered penetrating vision mode and scanned the entire hospital. On a van outside of the hospital, a guy responsible for central communication said, Brother Chiang failed, I can no longer reach him from my end. From the sea of noises and voices, Su Cheng immediately locked onto the speaker of that sentence. His eyes locked on and saw through the side of the van, spotting a guy with a beard and a hat. Do we cancel the operation? Someone spoke. I saw Brother Chiang getting carried away by undercover police. Was he exposed or were we all exposed? When that voice came out, Su Cheng's brain worked like an AI system and again located the speaker among the sea of people. This guy was currently sitting on a chair in the first floor common area. He was probably responsible for keeping watch for police while his teammates carried out the operation. However, the hitman didn't know that undercover police would be all over the hospital today, mixed in on every floor. Central Communication answered the hitman keeping watch, we weren't exposed, or you would have been arrested as well. We can't cancel the operation. The money on this bounty is enough for us to live the rest of our lives carefreely. We already alerted the target, and the chance of assassinating Su Cheng will only get smaller and smaller. Ghost, what's the status on your end? Did you cut off the hospital monitoring system yet? Picking up on this, Su Cheng immediately said to Ran Jing, go to the hospital's central monitoring room, someone wants to cut off all surveillance. Ran Jing immediately said to her earpiece, 3 of you that's patrolling the second floor, hurry and go check on the monitoring room and see if there's a situation. Hearing the order, 3 undercover officers immediately grouped and ran to the central monitoring room. When they arrived, they noticed that the door was locked. Captain Ran, the door's locked from the inside. Break it, someone's in there. Su Cheng heard the response and immediately said. Ran Jing immediately ordered, break in. The 3 officers nodded. Very professionally, they stepped back, took out their gun, and the 3 of them all kicked the door at the same time. Then, one guy pointed the gun towards the inside while the other 2 charged in. Then, they just saw a guy in hospital uniform in the process of typing things on a keyboard, and he was now looking at them, completely dumbfounded. The 3 criminal police officers immediately had him under control. Then, one officer checked the screens and noticed that all the areas around Su Cheng's ward were blacked out. He immediately said in a deep voice, take him away. Then, he reported right away, Captain Ran, someone already disabled the monitoring of the areas around Su Cheng's ward. It's very likely that we are dealing with a professional team of hitmen. Ran Jing already couldn't hide the shock in her heart. She was way too curious as to how the Su Cheng tonight knew all of this beforehand. Su Cheng immediately issued the next order to Ran Jing, search for a communication device on him, and then reply to the device and say done. Ran Jing nodded, and then she relayed the order. Her men found a little communication device from the guy, and then one pressed the talk button and said one simple word, done. After the central communication side got the news, he immediately started giving out further instructions. Cyclops, you can move on, you are safe. Got it, Cyclops responded, and Su Cheng was able to locate him as well. What a guy, he was actually getting IV drips upstairs. At this time, it was quite late and there weren't many nurses around. He pretended to go and use the washroom with the stand that the IV fluid bag hung from, and he pulled the needle out inside a stall and came out. Then, he climbed out from the washroom window and walked along the ledge. Su Cheng was on the 4th floor, and the guy that was caught on the roof had actually installed a rope system. Now, this guy could use this rope and slowly climb down to Su Cheng's window. Since the air condition was on, Su Cheng's room's window was closed, and there were a curtain and clothing rack blocking the view. The hitman nicknamed Cyclops installed a silencer onto his pistol first, holstered it, and then attached himself to the rope. Then, he spoke to his teammate that was looking his way with binoculars from afar and said, "Vision blocked, there are a curtain and a clothing rack. If you don't charge in, you won't be able to get a clear shot." Cyclops fell silent for a bit. "Got it. How many people are in there?" "3. But the other 2 are females, so you don't have to worry. Just go in and quickly execute him." Cyclops, "Okay." Then, he climbed down from the 5th floor using the rope and began untying himself from it. Just at this moment, Su Cheng said to Ran Jing, "Go open the window as hard as you can." Ran Jing was confused as to what Su Cheng was planning. But, she still got up from her chair, moved the clothing rack away, and pushed the window right out while being too lazy to pull the curtain to the side. With his back against the window, Cyclops had just finished untying himself from the rope when he felt a huge force pushing him forward. Failing to keep his balance and already being untied from the rope, he directly shouted "Ah!" his way down from the 4th floor. Hearing the ruckus, Ran Jing felt a chill down her back, and she instinctively looked towards Su Cheng. "How did you know there was someone outside?" "Su Cheng, didn't I tell you before that I have good ears?" Ran Jing immediately spoke into her earpiece. "Su Cheng's window area, send 2 people over, a killer fell down. He probably can't run." The accomplice watching with binoculars from the opposite building saw the scene of Cyclops falling from the 4th floor. He gritted his teeth. "Fuck." Cyclops fell down. The guy on the central communication side felt his eyelid jump, suddenly feeling that their plans weren't going so well today. Why did it feel like none of his plans were under his control? "Dolphin, up to you now." "Got it, give me 10 minutes. The voice actually belonged to a woman. When Su Cheng locked onto her, he noticed that she was in the hall on the 4th floor, in the uniform of a food delivery person. At this time, she walked into the nurse station and said to the nurses, "A gentleman ordered takeout for you too." The 2 nurses on today's night shift was a bit confused. "Who would order for us?" "Who cares, maybe it's a guy that secretly has a crush on one of us." "I'm hungry, let's just dig in." The other nurse happily took over the food.